Raise your hands, or not if you've ever heard the phrase, Christianity is all about getting to heaven. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Christianity Unmasked, and today we're setting the record straight. Now imagine a pearly gate, fluffy clouds, and an endless supply of your favorite treat. Sounds heavenly, doesn't it? Well, that's a common image many folks associate with Christianity's final destination. But let me tell you, there's much more to it than that. Christianity is not a one-way ticket to a paradise filled with cloud lounges and harp concerts. It's a journey, a way of life, a faith that's as much about the here and now as it is about the great beyond. And that's what we're diving into today. We'll start by debunking the myth that Christianity's only goal is to get to heaven. Spoiler alert, it's not. Christianity is a rich and diverse faith, with teachings that emphasize compassion, community, and stewardship of the earth right here and right now. Then we'll explore Christianity's earthly teachings and their impact. You see, living the faith is not just about believing in certain doctrines, it's about putting those beliefs into action. It's about embodying the Beatitudes, it's about loving thy neighbor, it's about making a positive difference in the world. We will also share some uplifting stories from the ground, real-life inspirations of individuals today who are embodying Christian values in unexpected, heartwarming ways. And yes, we will engage with you, our audience, answering your burning questions and even throwing out a fun challenge or two. So buckle up for a journey that will take us beyond the fluffy clouds and harp concerts, a journey into the heart of what Christianity really is. Stay tuned as we debunk some myths and shed light on the beautiful complexities of Christianity. Let's dive into the deep end and start with a playful debunking of the heaven-only myth. So, you might have heard this one before. Christianity is all about securing a spot in the heavenly penthouse, right? Well, not quite. While the idea of heavenly salvation is indeed a prominent aspect of Christian belief, it's just one color in the vibrant palette that makes up the Christian faith. The full spectrum of Christianity is much more nuanced and rich than that. Christianity is not a waiting game where we twiddle our thumbs until the final whistle blows. It's a faith that values the present life, the here and now, just as much as the life to come. It's about creating a bit of heaven right here on earth through acts of kindness, compassion, and love. One of the foundational teachings of Christianity is the concept of compassion. It's a theme that weaves itself throughout the New Testament, from the parable of the Good Samaritan to Jesus' ministry to the sick, the poor, and the outcast. Compassion isn't just about feeling sorry for someone, it's about stepping into their shoes, understanding their pain, and responding with love and kindness. It's about seeing the divine spark in every person, regardless of who they are or where they come from. But compassion isn't a solitary endeavor. It's something that we're called to do together as a community. Christianity places a strong emphasis on community and fellowship. The early Christians lived in close-knit communities where they shared their possessions, broke bread together, and supported each other in times of need. They understood that faith isn't just a personal journey, but a communal one. We are all part of the body of Christ, interconnected and interdependent. Stewardship of the earth is another aspect of Christianity that often gets overlooked. In the book of Genesis, humanity is given the task of caring for the earth and all its creatures. It's a role that we've often neglected, but it's a call that is as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. As Christians, we're called to be caretakers of this beautiful planet, to respect its resources and to protect its biodiversity. It's a divine mandate that challenges us to think and act beyond our immediate needs and consider the well-being of future generations. Now, here's a fun fact for you to ponder. Did you know that the word stewardship comes from the Old English word stigward, which means keeper of the pigsty? It's a humble origin for a noble concept, but it serves as a reminder that stewardship isn't just about grand gestures. It's about the small, everyday decisions that we make, the products we buy, the waste we produce, the energy we consume. It's about being mindful of our impact on the world and taking responsibility for our actions. So when we talk about the full spectrum of Christianity, we're not just talking about a belief system that's focused on the afterlife. We're talking about a faith that embraces life in all its complexity and diversity. A faith that calls us to live with compassion and community, to care for the earth and its creatures, and to create a bit of heaven here on earth. Remember, Christianity isn't a one-way ticket to heaven. It's a journey of faith that starts right here on earth. So let's roll up our sleeves and get to work. There's a world out there that needs our love, our compassion, and our care. And who knows, in the process, we might just catch a glimpse of heaven. Now let's take a closer look at how Christianity's earthly teachings have shaped the world we live in. Picture a world where every person is seen as inherently valuable, where love and compassion are the driving forces behind our actions, and where the common good is prioritized over individual gain. This isn't just a utopian dream, it's the essence of Christianity's teachings about living in the here and now. Let's start with the Beatitudes, a set of teachings by Jesus that serve as a blueprint for Christian living. They offer a vision of a life centered around humility, mercy, peace, and righteousness. But these aren't just lofty ideals to be admired from afar. They're meant to be lived out in everyday life. Think about the instruction. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. This isn't a call to sit back and hope for peace, it's a call to action. It's about fostering understanding between people, standing up against injustice and working to create a world where everyone can thrive. Now, you might be thinking, that's all well and good, but has anyone actually managed to live out these teachings? The answer is a resounding yes. Throughout history, there have been countless individuals and movements that have embodied these principles in profound ways. Take, for example, the abolition of slavery. Christian abolitionists like William Wilberforce and Harriet Beecher Stowe were driven by their faith to fight against this horrific practice. They saw every person as a child of God, deserving of dignity and freedom, and they dedicated their lives to making this belief a reality. Similarly, the civil rights movement was deeply rooted in Christian principles. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks were inspired by their faith to stand up against racial segregation and discrimination. They embodied the teachings of love, justice, and equality, and their actions helped to bring about significant social change. But let's not just look at the past, let's bring this into the present and look at one of Christianity's most fundamental teachings: love thy neighbor. This simple yet powerful command has profound implications for how we live our lives today. Loving your neighbor isn't just about being nice to the people who live next door. It's about recognizing the inherent worth in every person, regardless of their race, religion, gender, or socioeconomic status. It's about treating others with kindness and respect, even when it's difficult. It's about standing up against injustice, even when it's uncomfortable. And it's about working towards a world where everyone is treated with the dignity they deserve. This teaching is being lived out every day in countless ways. It's in the actions of individuals who dedicate their time to serving the less fortunate. It's in the efforts of organizations that work to address real systemic injustices. And it's in the everyday acts of kindness that often go unnoticed but make a world of difference. So, you see, Christianity isn't just about getting to heaven, it's about making a difference here on earth. It's about living a life of love, compassion, and justice. It's about recognizing the inherent worth in every person and working towards a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. Sure, heaven is part of the package, but it's not the end goal. The goal is to live a life that reflects the love of God, a love that is inclusive, compassionate, and just. A love that sees the inherent worth in every person and works towards a world where everyone can thrive. So, the next time someone tells you that Christianity is all about getting to heaven, remember this: Christianity is just as much about the journey as it is about the destination. It's about how we live our lives here and now and the impact we have on the world around us. As you can see, Christianity's teachings have had a far-reaching impact and continue to influence our society today. Let's shift gears a bit and share some uplifting stories of people embodying Christian values in unexpected, heartwarming ways. Picture this: it's a cold winter morning and a young man named Michael is on his way to work. He spots a homeless man shivering on the street corner, and without a second thought, Michael takes off his own warm coat and hands it to the stranger. A small act of kindness, but one that embodies the Christian teaching of love thy neighbor. Then there's Sarah, who every weekend spends her time volunteering at the local animal shelter. She's not doing it for recognition or reward, but because she believes in the Christian value of stewardship, caring for all of God's creatures. Or consider the story of Lucas, a high school teacher. When he noticed one of his students struggling academically, he didn't just give her extra homework. Instead, he took the time to understand her situation, discovered she was juggling school with a part-time job to support her family, and offered to tutor her after school free of charge. This is a testament to the Christian principle of compassion. These are just everyday people, much like you and me, yet they are living their faith in the most profound ways. They remind us that Christianity isn't just about lofty theological concepts or a distant promise of heaven. It's about how we treat each other here and now. It's about kindness, compassion, and love in action. These stories are heartwarming, yes, but they also serve as a call to action. They challenge us to look around and see where we can also embody these Christian values. Maybe it's by offering a listening ear to a friend going through a tough time, or by volunteering at a local charity, or even by simply practicing patience and understanding in our daily interactions. Remember, it's not about grand gestures or monumental acts. You don't need to be the next William Wilberforce or be some political activist. It's about the small, everyday choices we make that reflect the teachings of Christianity. It's about living our faith, not just professing it. And it's about making this world a little kinder, a little more compassionate, one act at a time. So I encourage you, in whatever way feels right to you, to put these teachings into practice. Observe the world around you, look for opportunities to show kindness and compassion and act on them, not because you expect something in return, but because as Christians, we believe in the intrinsic value of every individual and the sacredness of all life. These stories remind us that Christianity's teachings are as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. Now it's time to hear from you, the listeners. Firstly, we've got a question from Jane. Jane asks, if Christianity isn't just about getting to heaven, why do we talk so much about it? Great question, Jane. Well, heaven is undoubtedly an exciting concept, isn't it? It's like the cherry on top of a sundae. But the sundae itself, that's life here on earth. The teachings of Christianity are meant to guide us on how to navigate this life, to live in harmony with others, and to serve as stewards of this beautiful planet. So, while heaven is a wonderful prospect, let's not forget about the delicious sundae we're enjoying right now. Next up, we have a question from Tom. Tom is curious. How can I live out my faith in my day-to-day life? The million-dollar question, Tom. It's about making your faith practical. It's the small things, like showing kindness to a stranger, helping a neighbor, or even just being patient in traffic. Remember the Beatitudes? They're not just pious ideals, but practical guidelines. They're about humility, mercy, purity of heart, and peacemaking. These are qualities we can strive for every day. Now here's an intriguing query from Lucy. Lucy wonders, if Christianity values the present life, why do we look forward to the end of times? Lucy, that's a thoughtful question. The end of times, as depicted in scriptures, is more about the triumph of good over evil rather than the end of life as we know it. It's a symbolic representation of hope and redemption, a promise that goodness will eventually prevail. So it's not so much about looking forward to the end, but rather holding on to hope, even in the darkest times. All right, moving on to the fun part. It's time for this week's challenge. I want you all to do something that reflects the teachings of Christianity in your daily lives. It could be as simple as offering a kind word to a co-worker, or as grand as starting a community project. The point is to make your faith tangible, to let it influence your actions and decisions. And here's the fun twist. I want you to share your experience with us. How did it feel to put your faith into action? Did it change your perspective or interactions? We're all ears, but remember, it's not a competition. It's an opportunity to grow, learn, and inspire each other. Remember, the challenge is all in good fun, but who knows, you might just surprise yourself with what you learn. So go out there, do good, and let's continue this journey together, exploring the full spectrum of Christianity. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and most importantly, keep living your faith. As we wrap up, let's revisit the key points we've discussed today. We've journeyed through the vast and vibrant spectrum of Christianity, debunking the myth that this faith is solely about securing a spot in heaven. Instead, we've explored how Christianity is deeply rooted in the here and now, emphasizing compassion, community, and caring for our precious earth. We delved into Christianity's earthly teachings and their profound impacts on our world. We've discovered that living the faith is about actions, not just beliefs, as exemplified by the Beatitudes. We've touched on historical figures and movements, from the abolition of slavery to the civil rights movement, which were driven by Christian values to bring about change and justice in the world. We took a deep dive into the teaching of love thy neighbor and how its practical implications resonate in our modern society, challenging us to embody this commandment in our daily interactions. We've also shared our heartwarming stories from real people living out Christian values in unexpected and inspiring ways. These stories truly remind us that Christianity is as much about living a fulfilling and meaningful life before heaven as it is about the afterlife. We then engaged with some fun and insightful questions about Christianity and its teachings on life before heaven. Through this interaction, we hope to have sparked curiosity and encouraged a deeper understanding of the faith. And finally, we issued a playful challenge to reflect Christianity's teachings in your daily lives, because Christianity, at its core, is a faith of action. And on that note, we're signing off. Remember, Christianity isn't just about the destination, it's about the journey. It's about living a life filled with love, compassion, and stewardship, making the world a better place, one act of kindness at a time. Until next time. Next